It's the Bush League Mud Show. It's the Bush League Mud Show. Let's go.
Are you ready?
Make some noise!
All right, yo. What is going on? It is another edition of the Bush League Mud Show, giving you some Monday Night Raw review action on a Valentine's. Happy Valentine's, PJ.
Yes, before a premium event this Saturday.
Go home show to the Elimination Chamber, a.k.a. another Sweet Saudi money event.
Grab, yeah.
Super early, at least a reasonable time. It's kind of like kid time hours for the Elimination Chamber, isn't it?
Saturday at noon, yeah.
At noon. This is like so I'm actually going to be digging that, so I'll be tuned in for that, of course. But happy Valentine's Day to you all. Slade PJ, we are the Bush League Mud Show. Like and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Social media, follow us. Promise we'll follow back at Bush League MS Pod. So as mentioned before, we go home to the Elimination Chamber, which used to be, one of my favorite, if not right up there with WrestleMania, because I just love the originality of the Chamber match. We've watered it down over the years. Every year it seems that they find a new way to water this thing down. Mm-hmm. But they're in Indy. Last stop for Raw before going over there. Now, SmackDown, that was taped last week, which I guess will be good and not give any results of what happened on. We'll talk about that on Friday and pretend like it's live. But Indy, they're there. We got, of course, Jimmy, Corey, Byron on commentary. We kick this thing off. Imagine that. We kick it off with the world champ again. We got Bobby Lashley coming down with MVP, and they give these guys mic time. I don't know about you, PJ. We get more and more weeks now where Bobby is doing way too much talking than what I need. MVP is the mouthpiece. Honestly, I think people want to hear MVP talk more. Maybe I'm in the minority. It's okay to have Bobby speak for himself here and there, but I feel that the majority, the dominant voice of this two-man crew should be MVP. That's why we put him with Bobby.
Yes.
To help sell you on Bobby being the badass that he is.
Yeah, the only thing I've gotten to take away the last couple weeks is MVP's facials have been great because he hasn't been able to talk a lot. I don't know what the shift is, if this is a Vinceism to get the people to like Bobby more or less, or try to have him cut heels on his promos on his own, but we know that's just not his strong point.
The funny thing is, people already like Bobby.
I know. That's the thing.
People already like Bobby.
They like him as it is. Let MVP give him a little heel shine to him, or do the talking. That's what we love about MVP.
Easy money for MVP.
Easy, but no.
Easy money to make him. That's all he's got to do. Yeah.
And these opening segments are getting a little old now, especially when we have the multiple man matches at the pay-per-view. This was so predictable when everyone started marching out. I was like, we're going to see every goddamn participant that's in the Elimination Chamber in this opening segment, just like we did for the Day 1 segment, for that Go Home of Raw, and just like we did the Survivor Series and the Rumble. I mean, it's starting to get a little too much with this segment. It's very predictable on the Go Homes.
And this is what you get more than ever now that we've got 3-hour Raws. This is just so predictable. Yeah. And even a lot of weeks where it's not a go home to a premium now, Matt. We're still doing these kind of very templated, easily formatted type segments where we got one after the other coming out, and then we'll either throw it in a tag match or it's a number one contenders type match, some or a gauntlet. As we got tonight, we got a gauntlet. Yeah. So we ran an opening video about Forever Together, and then we get Lashley MVP. They come out, of course, they're talking about the Elimination Chamber, they're talking about the odds, and of course they give the stereotypical thing about the Chamber, about how it shortens careers and it impacts lives and all that. That's been like also a go-to crutch for this company to talk about and describe the Elimination Chamber match for many years. MVP, he says that there is a 16% chance of Lashley retaining the title, but when you add the almighty component, it's about 100%. So we get the first interruption. This is Seth Rollins. He comes out, pays Lashley a compliment, says he looks great in what he has on his wardrobe, but of course he doesn't look as great as he does because, of course, the suits that are custom made for Seth Rollins, I don't think anyone's topping that right now in the company. Maybe, do you think Seth Rollins has a favorite nation's clause in his contract where no one can look better than him wardrobe.
He might. I don't know if he goes to the same the shop that Flair used to go in Kansas City to get all his suits, but he's got somebody on speed dial to get him the biggest drip suits out there. So yeah.
So Rollins is out to interrupt, and he's talking about this whole thing with the Chamber, but as soon as Rollins starts to get into a groove, we get Riddle, who comes out in a toga, and Riddle is talking about how he feels that the Elimination Chamber is like last week's Quiz Bowl, which, of course, is a head-scratch for Rollins, as Rollins made no mention of this. And then Riddle says that this is because he remembers being locked in a gas station bathroom. Says that once the security guard let him out, Riddle knew that he could do anything, and that he's imagining himself as WWE champion to go along with the tag team titles with he and Randy Orton that they plan to win back soon. Go ahead.
That was pitched by the writer that wanted to get over with Vince. Bathroom humor. That when I heard that line, I'm like, Jesus Christ, that was typically trying to get pop for Vince there.
Well, Riddle in his promo is all love on Valentine's Day, as he is very invitive to both guys that are in the ring with him. He invites them to be a part of his toga party that they're going to be running. But Austin Theory, he comes out to interrupt. He says that Mr. McMahon has taught him a lot of things, expect the unexpected. Also, apologies are weakness. And he can't let Vince down at the Elimination Chamber. He has to win. This cues AJ Styles come out, who says that he needs to win because he needs that defining WrestleMania moment that apparently he still feels that he hasn't had, because the graveyard match with Undertaker is not a WrestleMania defining moment, being of how great that is. Maybe he means where he actually wins. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
But he says that maybe he could actually walk into the Chamber as U.S. champ this weekend, because he's got a title match with Damian Priest later on in the show. Maybe he can be the U.S. champ and the WWE champ. Riddle says that'd be cool, but not as cool as AJ coming to the RK Broga party. Lashley's had enough at this point. He runs down everyone's chances, and that also includes Brock Lesnar, who is the last person to come out to interrupt. Mm-hmm. Now, this was promoted that Brock was going to be at Raw, and it was further promoted earlier in the day as Brock was on the Pat McAfee podcast show, which was actually pretty funny, really, and he was very real. He was very Brock Lesnar-ish, but he comes out in his cowboy hat, his jeans, and his Argyle sweater, whatever you want. Basically the same attire that he had on the Pat McAfee show.
Yes.
Comes into the ring, takes off the jacket and the hats, puts them on Austin Theory. So Austin Theory served as his coat hanger and his hat hanger in the corner, during this. At this point, Lesnar and Lashley, they're face-to-face. Rollins is kicking up dust in the background, talking shit, and that's where Austin Theory decides he's going to catch Lesnar from behind and jump on his back, which was an absolute fail. Theory, I don't know if this was planned or not, but Brock definitely did not sell this shit. No. Theory jumps on Lesnar's back and goes flying completely over Brock.
Yeah.
This gets it popping. This was not good for Austin Theory, as he ended up going to Suplex City. Everyone evacuates the ring at this point. And once Lesnar is done with the body of Theory, he decides to take Theory's phone and snap a quick selfie. So,
yes.
This whole thing, this segment, you've already talked about it. It's very predictable, these kind of segments. It ate up the first 20 minutes.
Yes.
They got to do something on a 3-hour show. I don't think anyone really looked bad in this. This was typical. We're pretty much desensitized to it now. We're used to these kind of segments.
Yeah.
And it ended with Brock being the one standing tall and Lashley raising the belt with MVP on the outside. And this is basically the selling point of this chamber match. At some point, another face-off between Lashley and Lesnar.
I guess the one takeaway is just good to see smiling Brock. I'm liking it. It looks like he's having fun. He's enjoying this role, and he's playing with the crowd, high-fiving them all. So it is cool to see that right now.
We get to our next segment. We got Street Profits. They're running down the card of the evening. This is right before the Street Profits are in a Another tag match again with Ziggler and Roode. Now,
for the 10th straight week, they're hype men as well for the show. I don't understand this role for them. I understand they do a good promo of getting the crowd into it, but why do they always have to be the pitchmen for everything on the program? It seems like this.
They're taking over the roles of Crime Time.
Or New Day, I guess.
Or New Day,
I mean,
or DX. Remember, DX was being used to pitch all the WWE shop merchandise at one point. Here's the thing. Street Profits in a match, dude, with Ziggler and Roode, and they were the afterthought. They were the second, third, fourth, fifth fiddle in this match because this match was really based on and built around the fact that Dolph Ziggler's made an appearance on NXT, and he's got some beef cooking right now with Tommaso Ciampa as they're trying to get at Braun Breaker, so Ciampa's out for commentary during this match. We get the clip of Ziggler on NXT right before the match, so Ciampa, he's out there. This was a pretty quick match. It went about 2.5, 3 minutes. The big thing really to take out of this is we've got Ciampa and Ziggler. They're facing off on the outside, and Ciampa's messing with Ziggler. He's clapping. Ziggler throws a fake super kick, and that has Ciampa throw some water in Ziggler's face, but that's enough of a distraction that leaves Dawkins to basically catch Ziggler off guard. Ford hits the frog splash, which is good for the victory, but it didn't matter. After the match, Ziggler lands a super kick on Ciampa, but then he's able to bail before Ciampa is able to get to him. So this was more to further the other show that comes on the next night.
Yes.
So
yeah, and they've got they don't do takeovers anymore, but they have like a special themed event coming up Tuesday night as well about that. So that's why the Ciampa Ziggler thing, they're going to meet on that. So they continue to build that feud for there. I guess it was good to see Ciampa not on main event and actually getting showcased a little bit for Raw tonight.
Yeah. We've looked back at RK Bro. We get a package of them winning that quiz bowl from the previous week, and then that's a lead into the first glimpse of the RK Broga party where Riddle wants to know where Randy is. Randy's nowhere to be found. Queen Zelina thinks that this party is for her, and then Riddle starts a Broga chant. Now, we end up seeing Randy Orton right after this. He's in a whole nother part of the backstage area watching the ridiculousness of this toga party that's going on. So as Orton's looking on, Kevin Patrick, he spots him backstage and asks him why he's not celebrating with the rest of them. Orton clearly wants nothing to do with this and says that he's got bigger fish to fry. He's got a match, a main event match against Seth Rollins. He wants to focus on that. So there's that. We get another Rocky Johnson Black History Month video package with The Rock being the voiceover from it. They first ran this last Friday during SmackDown.
Yep.
After this, we get Kevin Owens, who's not going to be able to be at the Elimination Chamber, which hurts him even more because he can't be the WWE champ in Texas. But that's kayfabe BS. We all know why Owens will not be in the chamber match because he is in support of his boy Sami Zayn. So he ain't traveling over there. This is not the first time Owens has declined to travel over there.
That's fine because I think what they're gunning for here is pretty damn big with him and Stone Cold in Texas.
You think so?
I'm pretty sure, and I saw Sean Ross Sapp report that about an hour after Raw got off the air. That is, they are trying to get Steve back in the ring. I don't know what capacity. I can't see him a big match, but for the last 2 weeks, this whole Texas thing has been coming up. Obviously, Owens a stunner, Stone Cold the stunner.
I guess we'll know something for
that
sure
match,
if we find out that there's a special ring that's been shipped to L.A.
Yeah, and if...
That's where Austin's still living, right? He's still in Los Angeles?
And I'll tell you what, though, if Austin is on that card, he's not curtain jerking, and he ain't going to be in the middle of the card. If you are bringing Stone Cold back, you got to have him in the main event.
Really? You think...
Stone Cold fucking Steve Austin?
Against Kevin Owens. You're saying they need to go on last.
Of one of the nights.
So it's a night one.
Night one. You've got to. Especially if you're going to bring Steve out and have him go.
So does that mean that and I'm just playing slight devil's advocate here. So does that mean that you're going to then book and load up night 2 with Reigns and Lesnar?
Yep.
Charlotte and Ronda.
Mm-hmm.
Ronda can't be going on night 1, right?
I would think they might go night 1.
Becky and Bianca. I'm going to assume Bianca's going to win this thing. Although after we saw later on in the evening, maybe it could go a different way. But I see it as of right now, unless something dramatically changes. I'm thinking Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
So there'll be night 1.
I'm just saying if you're bringing back the biggest grossing fucking star that you've ever had in your company.
Is it a cinematic match?
No.
You think
Steve ain't doing a cinematic?
Austin's getting in the ring.
I think if he's going to do it, he's going to get in the ring.
Okay.
Will it be long? No. I don't think so. It'll be like a 5-minute match.
Then it can't go on last, though.
Oh, it can't go wrong. We have Goldberg and Lesnar in a 2-minute, 90-second match at Survivor Series a couple years ago. That was the main event. But it did what it needed to do. It was impact. It was it was holy shit. You got to see how great Goldberg used to be.
Okay.
And that was the first time Goldberg was back for 15 years at that point?
He still looked like Goldberg, though. He still looked like ass-kicking Goldberg.
Stone Cold Steve Austin
looks like Stone Cold. Yes,
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
But we know the injury history of Steve, though. We know about the knees. We know about the neck.
Yep, but for one night, that's the beauty of it.
Okay.
You can get away with it, just like they did with Goldberg.
Let Owens maybe dominate the match for the first 3.5, 4 minutes, and boom, out of nowhere, stunner. How are you?
You're
hearing it here first. Bush League Mud Show.
That's how I would book it.
PJ's booking his own Mania night 1. They go on last. Austin Owens.
You can't put Stone Cold in the middle of the goddamn card. If you're getting Stone Cold Steve Austin,
his last match against Rock, they didn't go on last. They were nowhere near.
That was a mistake.
I would. I would probably say
their final one. Yeah. That was a mistake. If you're not getting Rock this year, which we know we're not, it sounds like after yesterday's Super Bowl and all that, him pumping up the crowd in that LA area, so it looks like for sure he's going there. I'm 100% on Stone Cold in Texas this year.
Well, it would definitely make sense because Owens, he comes out and he's cutting a promo on the state of Texas, as they're in Indy.
Yes.
So he's cutting a promo on Texas. He's talking about how he's lying about his love for Texas. Said that he's sad that he can't be in the Elimination Chamber, as we said before, which means that he can't be the champ once. Then he just comes out, just says he can't stand Texas, just like he can't stand Indianapolis. And he talks about how from where he's from, in Quebec, it's all intelligent people and sophisticated people, and Texas just a bunch of basically dumb rednecks. And even did he make a comment? I want to say that if it could be a human body, it would be the ass of the United States. So there you go. So he did what he needed to do, and he's a good talker. He got his point across. We get our U.S. title match, AJ Styles against the champion Damian Priest, in which for every week that I continue to see Damian Priest on WWE television, I get more and more irked because we are getting further and further away from what the Damian Priest, the guy that got over at NXT, the guy who looked like someone, we're getting further and further away from that. Priest desperately needed a win here. Title or non-title.
Yeah, it's been
pretty They get dry. A match here. And they're going back and forth. I'll fast forward this. We get to a point here where they are on the outside where Priest spin wheel kicks Styles' leg in a knockdown there. They get back inside. Styles kicks him in the face and loads up for a phenomenal forearm, only for Priest to grab the ropes. And that's enough to let Priest then grab a roll-up for the pin against Styles to retain his U.S. title. Now, I will say this. Some people, and we always poke fun of the roll-ups. I'm watching this, and I said, to beat a guy like AJ Styles, I think at this point, with Styles especially being in the chamber match, you want all 6 individuals who are going into an Elimination Chamber match to look their absolute best.
Yes, they do.
Even if you don't think a certain person may not have a shot in hell of what you need to prove why they are in that match.
Yes.
Like this.
Yeah.
Austin Theory, this is his biggest match that he has. And until we can put a strap on him or until he can have defining moments in this company, this will be the biggest match that he'll be a part of. So we have to. So Styles is not pinned. This looks fine. The fact that it wasn't a clean pin over him, and Priest gets his win. If this can get you back on track of making him look like the monster that he should be, instead of this Damian 666 devilish turn attitude, multiple personality bullshit.
Is Vince going through Taker withdrawals? He needs a character like that. I mean, you had Aleister Black in that role, and you got rid of him. So is this Vince going, well, we got to have a sinister character. But he can be good, too, because his last name is Priest. Oh, wait, a lot of them are child molesters. I mean, it's just like, I don't know what he's going for. You know what
Damian Priest I liked? I liked the Damian Priest who got victories and celebrated with women.
Yes, he looked like a goddamn rock star in NXT.
He looks like a rock star when he comes out.
Yeah.
The guy who won matches celebrated with women, and you could run an angle where it goes to his head.
Yes.
And then he's starting to, and then now you got an excuse of maybe this guy dropping a match here or there, some shit like that. And then you can bring it back in where he gets rid of the women, and it's all business. We did that with Bobby Lashley just last year.
Yes, we did.
Going into Mania, right?
Yeah.
Then we did that?
Yes.
I mean, we tried to Godfather him, and then he got a little soft, and then he said enough of that.
Yep.
So he's been strong ever since. I mean, there's that. And AJ looking like he is slowly but surely becoming a babyface, maybe, because there was a nod to Priest, a nod of respect, and they shook hands and all that. So we'll see.
I wonder what they got in store for him at Mania.
With AJ Styles.
Yeah, I'm wondering because, he is doing the face thing. He doesn't have too many of these left. He's admitted that. He's not going to be wrestling into his 50s, mid-50s. So, I mean, he said this is like maybe it for this contract. So he's only got a couple more Manias left. So I wonder, I am interested in what plans they have for him this year.
We get to our next segment, PJ. This is back to the therapy of Alexa Bliss, who looks more normal than she has during these segments, and she's there. She's got her hair down, and she's got regular clothing on. And I got my thoughts about this, but I'll run through it because this was multiple segments with Bliss and the therapist throughout the evening. The therapist says that aside from the incident in the grocery store, last week was good, and it was so good that Alexa has earned a gift. And this gift, she would like the music to stop, but he's got something else in mind because he asked her what she would like it to be. And the therapist pulls out an unstuffed body, basically the outlinings of the Lily doll and the stuffing that goes in it. Now, Alexa, she looks a bit shaky, but then the therapist ends up pulling out a backup, a replica of the Lily doll. Yes. One of the ones that apparently, I'm guessing, probably did not sell on WWE.com.
No, not those.
So that's the end of that segment. We get a little further as this has got a significant impact on one of the matches for this week, and I'm sure everyone can already tell what that is. We get a squash match. Boy, if Vince McMahon, if there wasn't any more effort of this guy trying to get you to forget about Alexander and Benjamin ever being a part of the Hurt Business, and they still come out
with the damn Hurt Business stuff. Yeah.
Right, they're not hurting anyone. They definitely didn't hurt anyone in this match. As this match went about a minute and a half, total dominance of Omos, which I'm very confused. I don't know where we're going with Omos. The way that we had him break up with AJ, beat AJ clean, you would have thought the Elimination Chamber, Omos would have been in the match.
No, not even in the picture. Not even close. He's
busy chasing and beefing with 24/7 cats.
Yeah, so they are floundering big time with him. Not that he was the greatest after a year with AJ in the ring as it is, but yeah, this was terrible for Benjamin and Alexander to do. I felt sorry for him.
Speaking of 24/7, that's exactly what we got next. We get a video package looking back at Dana Brooke turning down Reggie's, I guess, if you want to put it in terms of maybe an unspoken offer of romance, I guess.
Well, we had to have a Valentine's
basically
type
Reggie
segment.
getting friend zoned.
Yep.
Reggie got friend zoned. So we go back and we look at that. So then we get the friend zoned Reggie and Dana Brooke having this platonic Valentine's Day dinner, in which we've got Tamina and Tozawa in disguise.
Yes.
You can't help it. Tozawa's been doing this whole thing now, for about 2-3 years? How long has this 24/7 belt been around?
He's been about 3 years doing
Okay,
this.
and now we've got big, bad, tough-ass looking Tamina, a part of this BS.
Yeah.
So there's that. We go back to the RK Broga party. Riddle is giving Kevin Patrick a pep talk when the Street Profits then show up, which means that Angelo Dawkins, he gets to dominate at beer pong, and that earns him a pop in the back by their constituents. I'm trying to figure out, as I'm watching the RK Broga party backstage, why in the world would Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz be a part of this?
They're just
in
chilling
togas.
Out. Yep.
Why would they be a part of this?
Chilling. They don't have any problems with anybody anymore because they ain't getting booked.
Everything's
so
gravy
good.
now. They're good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So as we get away from the catering crew, we get Adam Pearce, who's now in the ring for a contract signing between Becky Lynch and Lita. Lita comes onto the ring first, and then here comes Becky. She looks completely different, and she's looking all, I guess you could say, depressed looking. She's not dressed as loud as she has been since she's come back. Mm-hmm. So we get Becky sitting down. She says that Lita doesn't have to do this and that she's had trouble sleeping all week as she can't imagine doing this to her teenage idol. So that's the angle that we're playing here is Becky, looked up to Lita and doesn't want a match with Lita, especially as it pertains that she is the champ. Lita then caters and simps to the crowd, asks the fans if she should tear up the contract or just sign it and shut Becky up. Of course, the crowd wants her to sign it. And she says that she is not back for one more match, but one more run. A championship run.
All right.
And she ain't got a snowball's chance in hell of winning this match, but she's back for a championship run.
Yeah.
And the match is happening whether Becky wants it or not. So Lita signs it, which makes Becky, in a very sympathetic tone, say that Lita is basically pushing her. Now Becky, she's getting a little bit more serious. She said that she will do anything to keep the title. And so she goes ahead and she signs. So Lita says that it is on her to finish it. The only thing that is ending on Sunday is the 500-day reign, which is, I don't think we're quite close to 500 yet, are we?
I don't think so.
But anyways,
we're not.
we need to
she's
throw
just
out
not even
a significant
year.
number.
Yeah.
Becky puts her glasses back on, and she's leaving all sad. And this was I will say this. I don't think it came off as they originally planned for this to come off. Whatever it was a little odd, but at least this was a contract signing which didn't involve in tables, big furniture moving, and blows and this and that. It was Becky, I guess, is just, even though she is a quote-unquote heel, doesn't want to face her childhood idol. This is painful for her. This is hurting her on the inside. So, of course, we know what this is going to be. Becky will obviously retain, and she's going to go ape shit and beat Lita down at Elimination Chamber.
Most likely.
With no remorse.
Which then might lead to a three-way at Mania.
Which will lead to a run-in. Because I'm going to assume that this match is probably going to happen after the women's chamber match. So we'll get Bianca to run down after she's won the chamber match. She'll come down and save Lita.
Yeah.
But you think that this will be...
One of the women's matches is going to be a three-way like usual, and I think this might be the one at Mania that turns into a three-way. They throw Lita in there, especially if she's using terms. I'm looking for another run and all this. Yeah. They're keeping her around for Mania.
And Vince is going to have his Hall of Fame legends.
Yeah. Well, Lita's not getting the Goldberg treatment here because we haven't seen her in a while, and I think she can go and help out with a little star power here. So, yeah.
With the women's Elimination Chamber match, we get into the Gauntlet match where the winner will get to enter the chamber last. Rhea Ripley, she's the first person in this match. She kicks it off with Nikki. And this match, there wasn't even really a proper entrance for this match.
No.
They were already going.
They were going. They were just going at it, and this thing took forever.
We didn't even get the proper intro, but anyways, this thing is going on. We get several minutes, about 5 minutes or so into this match. Ripley hits a riptide. She finishes off Nikki, which brings out Liv Morgan as the number 3 participant in this gauntlet match. They go back and forth. Ripley grabs the Prism Trap, and that sends Ripley away for the escape super kick. That sets up a riptide to hit Morgan, so she sends Morgan on her way as well, so she's still going strong. Doudrop comes in at 4. They start off, they're shoving each other for a bit, and Ripley, at least I do like that, at least with these two squaring off, they showed that Ripley's got a little power too.
Yes.
So at least they had someone that could hang in there with Doudrop. Wasn't enough, though, as we get her finishing off Doudrop, and then Bianca Belair is in at 5. And you would have thought that the way that these two ladies collectively looked just 2 years ago, that this would potentially be a Mania matchup for one of the belts. Mm-hmm. Instead, we're going to give it to you on free TV in a gauntlet match.
Yeah.
They go back and forth. They do actually very well. We get to a point in the match. Belair, she hits a delayed vertical suplex with some high steps for a 2 count. Belair, then she face plants her for a 2. Ripley, she's right back, though. She goes for a riptide. It's not successful. Belair puts her on top for a slug out. Belair getting the better of the whole situation. We get a handspring moonsault. Only hits knees, though, and Ripley goes up top for a missile drop kick. She hits it. Only good enough for a 2 count. Prism Trap goes on again, but Belair, she's able to roll out, hit a spine buster. KOD finishes Ripley for the victory. And after the match, they're homegirls. Everyone knows how close they are in real life. So there is a sportsmanship acknowledgement as after Bianca wins, she pulls Ripley up and they hug it out and they raise hands, all that, but it will be Bianca Belair. That will be the last person that will be able to enter the chamber on Saturday. I will say, compared to what we see usually in women's matches, they actually got a lot of time.
They got way too much time.
You think they got too much time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this kind of really slugged down the show. I mean, because we all wanted Rhea.
It made Rhea
Bianca
look like she is a contender again.
Yes.
We got that across.
I understand.
Although I don't like her chances for Saturday, it at least reminded you that they still see plans in her at some point.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting through the rubble.
Yeah, I think it was just a lot of filler to get to what people really wanted to see, and that was Rhea and Bianca. That's what it was. So I understand that's how they wanted to go with the storytelling of everyone gets a shot to be that last entrant except for the person who would join the match, which we'll talk about here.
Yeah, we go back again to the RK Broga party. Riddle, he's playing the guitar. He's singing until the Alpha Academy. We knew they were going to be coming uninvited at some point. They jump him from behind. They leave Riddle laying. There is still no Randy Orton around. Randy's
you talk about a
focused
shitty
Seth
party.
Rollins.
You think you're inviting friends over and bros and whatever. Not. These two fucks just walk right on in. No one does anything to say, hey, get the fuck out of here.
Right, because you assume that everyone back there were all baby faces. They all just left the room and let these guys have their way with Riddle.
The shit out of Riddle. I'm like, this is the shittiest party ever.
Well, we go from this to back to the restaurant for 24/7 action, baby, is R-Truth and company. They're chasing after Dana Brooke with the referee getting some food samples.
Of course. Gotta have a food spot in here.
Hine with Reggie. Dana is rather happy, but Reggie wants to take their friendship to the next level. She politely turns him down again, so then Reggie rolls her up to win the belt, which I liked. Like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So after Reggie, we get everyone mocking Brooke. The waiter then asks if it will be cash or card. So at
Dine
least
and dash as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to say at least for now, it seems that the Reggie and Dana love story is over. Unless Dana decides that she does want Reggie, and it's only a ploy to get her belt
Pins
back.
him in the bed. 1, 2, 3.
I would love that in a hotel bed. Yeah.
Why the hell
Softens him up. No pun intended.
Soften him up. 1, 2, 3.
All right. We get a non-title match, tag team action, Alpha Academy and the Mysterios. We ran this long package before the match that they were tying into the Channing Tatum dog movie.
Oh, that's right.
Between the Mysterios and stuff. So
I was so confused with that and just all the Chucky promos for this fucking show. I know it was on Sci-Fi, but oh shit. I thought Chucky and Rick Steiner were going to have a goddamn match.
Too soon for a Ray Dominic Mania match? Is this year just too? Do we need to get Dominic on track to make him look strong the last half of the year to get him to get into Mania season?
I think so.
Because I don't know. Yeah. You talk about AJ. I don't know how many more Manias Mysterio is going to be a part of.
Same there. And you would think he would want to put Dom over, work with him a little bit in the biggest show. But I don't. Storytelling wise, they had the little friction.
They can't Baron Corbin it though with the Kurt Angle match. This would have to be a match where, of course, Dominic is going over, but it's a handing of the torch, and you got to have plans for Dominic.
Yep. Yeah, you have to have concrete plans that he wins a strap or something in the next couple months, U.S. title or Intercontinental picture, wherever they see him or fit. Yeah, throw him in that area.
Before this match, though, Chad Gable, he's, of course, got to insult the crowd. He puts them on double secret probation, even if they are probably already on some kind of probation.
Well, it is Indianapolis, the home of the NCAA, so I do like that by Chad Gable to throw that dig in there.
Yes. So, of course, he's got his comments about the academic challenge and how it wasn't fair and the whole Michelangelo question in which it was referring to the Ninja Turtles and not the painter. So then we got Dominic, who apparently they're reminding you that he had to cheat to beat The Miz the previous week. That cues Miz and Maurice coming out for some commentary. So then we get a break. We come back, and we get Otis splashing Ray. This thing goes back and forth. Dominic hits some suplexes, hits an Eddie Guerrero dance, that is.
Mm-hmm.
Gable cuts him off with a tiger suplex for a 2 count. Ray makes the save. And then the Academy is sent outside. We take another break. We come back. Dominic, he's diving over to make a hot tag to Ray. And we get some action going on. Ray's got the crowd involved. And Otis, he ends up having to make a save. So Dominic breaks that up. That leaves Gable to take a double 619. Ray then dives on the Miz at ringside. So then Dominic goes up for a high crossbody. And that is enough for Gable to roll through, grab the tights for a pin. So not a horrible tag match. And this whole thing was to advance a few different things. Number one, the Alpha Academy, they are tag champs. They shouldn't be losing anytime soon. And we had to give Miz something to do after Edge.
Yeah.
Maurice is still giving some of her time to the company away from the kids. So she's a part. So we've got her still coming down, which doesn't upset anyone by any means. So, yeah, Miz and Ray, they've got something. Or Miz and the Mysterios, I guess. They've got something going on.
The whole video game angle, too. I mean, that ties into Miz. He wants all the, the publicity and all that for the company, for all he does. I could see where it works in. So it's a story that makes sense. So we'll see where they go from here. Or if this is the Mania match, Miz and Mysterio, who knows?
Yeah, after the match, Miz ends up throwing Dominic on the outside and gives Ray the skull-crushing finale. So this is definitely not over. We get back to the therapy session of Alexa Bliss, where the therapist tells her that she can now go. She's good. And he even gives Alexa a replica Lily doll, which she knows.
Teddy Ruxpin.
Well, she knows it's not the real thing. He tells her to always have it by her side, and she can have a good life. So these sessions are over. And I thought to myself, what if I was paying this guy? What a waste of fucking money that out of all of this, the therapist just gives me what I was coming to therapy to get over. A Lily doll.
Yes.
Tells me have a good life. This is just some of the most shittiest therapy ever. At least it brought Danielson and Kane closer together when they went through therapy.
Yeah.
This was garbage.
Yeah.
Before she leaves, we get Alexa. she tells Lily that she's cured and then announces what her plans will be come Saturday. And after that, we immediately get the graphic of the Elimination Chamber, and the sixth final component appears on the screen, and it is announced that Alexa Bliss will be joining the Elimination Chamber match. So I just thought this was also silly. It was silly for a couple of reasons. For the whole therapy thing, it just was pointless to sit here and run all these segments all these weeks. But you just got done doing a gauntlet match.
Yeah.
Now, even though these two were already announced to be in the match, you had a gauntlet. You had all 5 participants in the Women's Elimination Chamber match going through a gauntlet of who will go in last. There was no element. It was lazy booking with how we got Alexa into this match. Yeah. She just called her own shot.
And got in.
Like I said before with the whole Goldberg and Lita thing. What is the point of going through a Royal Rumble match if you can just show out of nowhere and just say, hey, I want a title shot, and you get it?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the point of these stipulation matches, PJ?
Doesn't make any sense, and that's just what they're just grasping at straws, trying to fill this card for Saturday, make the Prince happy over there, get who he wants, some of the legends, and just fill this card out. Because for long-term storytelling, it makes no sense. Never does.
We get into our main event match. This is Seth Rollins and Randy Orton. Rollins makes himself, comes down to the ring. We get a break, and then we show what went down on SmackDown and all that. We get a chamber rundown. This thing was like 5, 6, 7 minutes. Like, it was just time filler. Like, it was just obvious, intentional time filler. Anyways, this match, I won't go move for move or anything like that, because this is a matchup. These two guys, they've got history in the ring together, and it's like Orton and Cena, right? I mean, these two guys, Orton and Rollins, they've gone at it so many times. They could have had this match in their sleep. They know each other, you know, and it's like, you know, no matter what happened in this match, it won't top Levi Stadium at Mania, but these guys are not going to. I think it's kind of hard to call any of their matches going forward A+, because we've done it like they're so damn good. So we get into this match. You get the typical Orton Rollins stuff. Now, where this stuff starts to take a turn is Orton ends up hitting an RKO finally. And then we get the Alpha Academy, who runs down. Riddle is right behind him to cut them off. But the distraction is enough for Rollins to hit the stomp and get the pin. And so this furthers that Rollins is going to be able to come in last, or he's in the chamber match and all that stuff. So Rollins looks good. Orton's got his own stuff going on with Riddle, so we continue to further the storyline between the Alpha Academy and RK Bro. And is it safe to say that the Elimination Chamber kind of was second fiddle in this match? Really, this was more about advancing the tag team feud?
Yeah.
Is this 2 weeks in a row we're ending the show with Alpha Academy and RK Bro advancing their storyline? Yeah,
and I'm for it. I get the crowd is loving this, you know, between the two and everything else going on. So I don't know why you needed a Rollins-Orton match, though, to further it, but that part doesn't make any sense. That just seems way out of place, especially with just Rollins throwing him in there with it. So, but you couldn't go another week with Riddle taking on Otis and Gable taking on Orton, because that was just getting weird after they would do the academic battles and everything else. So, the booking is just odd here.
We ended up, though, ending the way they shot this. They wanted you to still, you know, I guess think that Rollins was the aura of this thing. He was victorious, by the way. He's down. He's out on the commentary table as Corey Graves has given us the spiel one final time about what time and everything to catch the Elimination Chamber, and he's cackling on the announcer's table as we go off the air. Overall, for a go-home show, I'll tell you this, it was better than the go-home for the Rumble.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, I guess it was... call it the show a B- for me.
Okay.
That's all right. I thought it was cool. It wasn't B-.
I'm in the neighborhood C+.
I think the main thing of what I'm getting out of this, I guess I'm more interested in the women's chamber match now. It's got me more concerned about the women's chamber match and how we're going to get everything set up. This is obviously now that Ronda has announced that she's going at Charlotte at Mania, this chamber match is to funnel the contender for who Becky is going to be facing. And now that you've at least thrown Alexa Bliss in there, makes you think a little bit. Makes you at least think, even if you don't think Alexa.
Yeah.
But if you are going to have Alexa in this match and she is going to end up being eliminated, it's got to be something kooky, right? It's got to be something where maybe it's not a clean pin. Maybe it's something. Maybe does she take herself out of the match? Does she get a spell that hits her middle of the match and she, like a zombie, just walks out?
I'm sure they're going to have some spot like that in there.
I mean, after all of that of not seeing Bliss in any kind of action or we haven't really seen much of her except for the therapy session scenes and all that. I mean, to bring her back to be in action, just to have her go down with the rest that are going to be pinned in this match. I mean, I don't really see the point in having her in this match if that's what you're going to do.
Yeah, I guess it's just to bring her back to action. But you still don't know what she's going to do with that character. Hell, they probably don't know what they're going to do with that character yet. From all the stuff we hear about, they don't know what the hell they're doing. So we're going to all find out on Saturday what little tidbits we're going to get here and there from this one.
That's your WWE Raw. Go home to the Elimination Chamber review on Valentine's Day. Slade,
PJ,
we're the Bush League Mud Show. We want to know what you thought of tonight's Monday Night Raw. Be sure to leave us a comment, and we'll be sure to comment back, and we can go back and forth and see how you would have done it. So hit us up, like and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and follow us, as we promise we'll follow you back on social media at Bush League MS Pod. We'll be back at you a couple nights. We'll give you AEW Dynamite review.
Yes.
And who knows, depending on how good NXT 2.0 is tomorrow night for their special, we might give you a little rundown of that too. We might. All right. See you then. All right. Thanks, dude. Thanks, dude. Thanks, dude. Thanks, dude. Thanks, dude. Thanks, dude.